Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another KP's Place YouTube video or podcast if you're listening on Spotify for podcasters. We're back with our Fastlane predictions video. Would like to apologise for the lack of release of the previous video. We just could not physically get an arrangement in to sort the time out. That's on us, and we are back here with our next one anyway. Fastlane predictions up and coming here and now. I am joined today by both Kurt and by Scarlett, and regular two on the predictions videos here. We're going to be getting into things, and we're going to be just sort of like showcasing what we think is going to happen in each of the matches at WWE Fastlane this coming Saturday. So, without further ado, let's head on in. Let's get talking about the first topic of conversation, and we're going to be diving straight into a big one. It's the World Heavyweight Championship match, which features the challenger Shinsuke Nakamura going up against Seth freaking Rollins. This is a rematch from the last event, and this time is a little bit different because we got a last man standing match between these two. And I think when this match was first announced as being under this stipulation, I was quite excited because they had their match beforehand, and obviously, Seth would win that one. Say what you want about the finish, yeah, it wasn't the best that it could have been, but it was actually pretty good. How to go to that next step with these two, insert some big stipulation, last man standing. I think this adds that whole sort of next level vibe to this situation. The build to this one has been very much Nakamura focusing on Seth's weak points, trying to weaken him down, put further punishment on the back of him, and just sort of like trying to elevate himself onto a position where he's even more likely to pick up the championship. And the build has been pretty good for this one, I think, for the most part. I think it's actually been quite enjoyable. You've had Shinsuke Nakamura really go after Seth and make life difficult for him. And Seth's had to sort of like try and power through each week. And he's been sort of chasing Nakamura. He's been trying to chase him, trying to get like to him. And it's been very, very difficult for Seth to do that. Regarding the match itself coming up at Fastlane, I think that if there's an opportunity for Shinsuke Nakamura to win the world title, it's got to be this match. But I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see Shinsuke win. If you actually told me, wait, if you gave me the choice, who would you want to win this match, Shinsuke or Seth? I'd go with Shinsuke Nakamura. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I have a feeling Seth's going to find a way to worm his way out of this one in terms of like the recent beatdowns. I think he's going to turn things around. It's been very heavily Nakamura pre-Fastlane. So I think because of that reason, I think Seth's going to turn things around. He's going to overcome the challenge of Shinsuke, and I think he's going to get the better of him, and he's going to be the last man standing here. He's going to retain his World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth freaking Rollins, will win this match. That's my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, so I think basically what KP was saying, I would have to agree with, simply because of the fact of how, I mean, Shinsuke's had the upper hand the entire build-up. Typically, especially with the go-home shows, yeah, you see that typically never bodes well for the competitor. That being said, typically when you have a feud over a title over several matches, 2 or 3 matches, usually ends up being that the competitor ends up getting the upper hand, right? I struggle to come up with examples where they extend a feud like this and the challenger doesn't eventually get the title. But the last big example I can think of, ironically or maybe not, is Shinsuke when he won the Rumble. Never got that title from AJ, if I recall correctly. So we'll see. I too would love Shinsuke winning the title. I think that goes without saying, but maybe we have one more match. But kind of to what KP was saying, I think if he wins it, he has to win it here. I don't think, what are you going to do more than a last man standing? Usually that's kind of the last effort to resolve the feud, right? So that being said, as much as I want Shinsuke to win, I don't think he will. I love to eat my words, but we shall see.
Yeah, this is a hard-hitting match. I don't think that Shinsuke is going to win the title. I do think Seth is going to retain the title because I think WWE is going to make it official that Roman Reigns going to go against Seth Rollins, champion versus champion match, because obviously Royal Rumble 2023 was 2022. It was Seth and Roman going against each other, and it never ended in like a pinfall because it ended in a DQ instead. So I think it's going to be a champion versus champion match. So that's why I'm going for Seth Rollins. So I'm going Seth to retain.
Yeah, that's a good shout. It's a good point though. I don't think they're gonna want to put Shinsuke against Roman if he ends up coming back for that match. Well, I can't recall the last time we've seen him actually wrestle. So,
where do you guys stand on a potential cash in for Damian Priest after this one, or maybe even during it towards the end? What are we thinking?
I reckon Damian Priest is going to cash in, play either near the end of the year or start of the year. I don't think he'll cash in on this one because obviously he's got a match coming up for his tag team championship, so I don't think he's going to go for this. So it depends wherever he's looking at. I think he's going to go for either the next event or one near the end of the year or start of the year.
Yeah, honestly, I forgot about the Money in the Bank briefcase as well. It just hasn't been as prevalent as it has been in previous years. Like the one that sticks out in my head is Brock. Of course, it's Brock, obviously, but you know, he came back on and he was like dancing around with it, and like it was very much headlined. Whereas I guess it's not a bad thing, but because of Damian being a part of a faction and every other member now in that faction having a title or some sort, you know, obviously as a faction they're being very heavily headlined, but unfortunately I feel like the Money in the Bank briefcase kind of has taken a backseat to the whole thing. That being said, we thought, you know, the last time these two fought that it was a perfect opportunity for him to cash in. Well, here's an even better opportunity with, you know, what's going to be this brutal last man standing match with the back being again headlined as it's in such, you know, rough shape. Shinsuke going to clearly capitalize on that. It feels like it's kind of on the wall that if he was going to cash in on Seth, this would be the time to do it. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's no better opportunity. Last man standing match, both men are going to completely beat the crap out of one another, and it's going to be a case of like Damian and the Judgment Day coming in to pick up the scraps at the end. Really, like I think if you just weigh out any last man standing match, it's an ideal opportunity. So I feel like there's a chance of that, but it obviously ultimately does depend on that tag team match as well. Like Kurt was saying, he's preoccupied elsewhere. That definitely adds a big exclamation mark to that. So yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of points to take from this one, but I think ultimately we all agree that Seth is going to walk out here still the champion. Well, he's going to at least be the last man standing, right? We don't know about afterwards, but he's going to beat Shinsuke, right? That's what we're all pretty much thinking there. How about we move on now to another matchup? So next up, we're going to be talking about a 6-man tag team match, which features the LWO's Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and looks like it's going to be Cruz del Toro there. That's going to be the other member. They're going to be taking on Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. So 3 vs 3 tag team match here. United States champion obviously being involved in this one. And I think for the build for this one, it's been semi-interesting because you have the likes of the Street Profits who have been trying to adapt this new style, trying to get used to a different side of things. They've always sort of like played to the love and adoration of the crowd. Now they've got Bobby Lashley is their sort of like gearhead, and they're trying to adapt this new mentality, new philosophy, and they're struggling. They're definitely struggling. You had a match between, I think it was Dawkins and Ford against Rey and Escobar a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. And that match would ultimately end up with the LWO winning that one because Dawkins' hesitation after Lashley would attack Rey Mysterio. Dawkins didn't want to go for it, and he was like, oh, I really like this. And then that cost him the match, ultimately, at the end. I feel like it's been very much a case of, can the Street Profits adapt? And I think we get the answer at Fastlane. I think they can adapt. I think they will choose to do so. And I think they will put down the LWO in this matchup. I think they're going to get the victory, and they're going to all click together. And this is that point where it all happens. Yeah, that's my opinion for this one. I'm going to go with Lashley and the Street Profits to get the victory.
Yeah, the buildup of the Hurt Business, the Street Profits, whatever we're gonna call them here, Hurt Business 2.0. It's a strange one. I mean, I think everyone was pretty excited to see Bobby Lashley first come into the picture and kind of take on the Street Profits under his wings. But since then, it's kind of been choppy, I think, to say the least. And maybe that's the intention here, is to prove that, hey, these bright, cheery, Street Profits can't just turn heel overnight. So maybe that's kind of what they're doing there. And if that's the case and this ends up working out, then great. But it has been a bit of an awkward transition for them. It almost feels like maybe someone had some second guesses there, maybe backstage. I don't know. We'll see. But I think, and then the LWO were kind of their own mess. I think they just fought each other for the U.S. title a week or two ago, I think. So that's kind of different too. I think both teams clearly aren't 100% with it. I think at the moment, obviously, LWO should be a little more together than Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, but I would like to see that flipped on its head here. I think the right decision here is Lashley and Street Profits continue to build up and hopefully kind of in dominating fashion get the win here.
Yeah, so this kind of match is kind of an awkward one because Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, I don't even know if they even are heel or face, because obviously when they come out to the arena, they act all like friendly and face way to all the crowd and stuff, but obviously they also act heel as well, obviously attacking the face of people from behind. So it could go possible ways if they're heel or face, but I'm going to guess that they're going to be heel soon. And possibly they're going to add a female wrestler to their group, and I think it will be Bianca Belair. However, on this match, I've got to go with KP and Scarlett that Bobby Lashley and Street Profits will get the win on this one. Could we potentially see Santos turning on Ray? I'm not sure on that one. Possibly, if Santos is determined for another title match. But I don't think so. But this match, going with Bobby and Street Profits to win this one.
So yeah, we're all thinking the same sort of lines there. It's got to be, right? Why, like Scarlett said, why have the awkward build-up if they're not going to just get them to click on the big stage? It just makes sense, doesn't it? They're fighting through the adversity, trying to get the new mentality in, and this is like a good opportunity for them to finally make it all work out. I think it just makes sense. So yeah, probably gonna happen. As to what Kurt was saying about Bianca Belair, I think that's within the realms of possibility for sure. I don't know if maybe that could happen here. I think maybe we see Bianca come back and perhaps insert herself back into the championship picture by doing something that's very heel-like. I'm not sure. And then maybe there's some sort of interactions backstage between her and the Profits, perhaps, and then they can go from there. Then maybe, but yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing Bianca involved in this. I think it'll be very much these six, getting involved with each other, and then it's going to be more focused around, I think, the Street Profits. Just they're going to click. I think that's the main thing to come from this.
It is an interesting idea, simply because you can kind of look at it one of two ways. You can look at it, well, do we want to throw Bianca in this faction that's already having issues clicking? I feel like that could potentially further separate it. But then on the other side of that same coin, you could say, hey, maybe Bianca's the glue this team needs. So I think I could see it going either way. I could see this pay-per-view just focusing on the Street Profits and Bobby as it is. But I could see them focusing what better way to debut than kind of a lackluster, but I shouldn't say lackluster, a short on matches card anyway. So I think it's a good shout.
Yeah, to be fair, I see it. I do see it. Yeah, I can see both sides of things, to be fair. Interesting one for definite, but I think either way, there's a couple of options here that could potentially could turn out at Fastlane. So that's kind of cool, actually. I like it. How about we move on now to something a little bit different? What have we got coming up next? We're going to be speaking about the triple threat match for the Women's Championship. So you've got Io Sky putting the title on the line up against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. So this match on paper looks to be incredible, right? You got Io, you got Asuka, you got Charlotte. I mean, it screams potentially match of the night. Like, I don't know about Seth and the Shinsuke, maybe that could also be very, very good. But yeah, I think this one just on paper looks utterly insane. I think the build up for this one has been pretty good for Io. She's been able to sort of like pick up a couple of wins and stuff, and she's been sort of like showcasing that she's like the real deal to hold on to the championship. Obviously, she's had help from Bayley and Dakota bits here and there in the title defense against Asuka a couple of weeks ago, and I think like it's allowing people to see what Io can do, sort of thing. Like I think we're still very early into this reign. She hasn't held it for an awfully long time. Obviously, picking it up at SummerSlam in what was triple threat then as well. I think this one has the potential to go a couple of ways, but I think I really hope they don't drop the ball here on Io, because I think she still has stuff to offer with the championship. I don't think she's anywhere near done yet. I really don't think that she is, but I can see WWE pulling off some sort of Charlotte win here. I really, really can. Like, I'm looking at Asuka and I'm thinking, does she really is she actually going to be capable of winning this matchup? I don't really see a way of her coming out on this one with a championship. I really just don't. So I'm thinking like Io and Charlotte. I 100% think and know that Io should win this one. It's WWE, right? You just don't know when they're going to give Charlotte her next championship, but then they could maybe have Charlotte and Io going forward, and they have Io pick it up again. You know how they like to just give it hot potato with Charlotte, Flair, and the championships and stuff. I really think Io should win this one. I really, really do. But yeah, I can see it going elsewhere, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm loving the hype for this matchup. Triple threat with these two women should be fantastic.
See, I'm kind of on the other side of the fence here. I don't feel like the build for this was extremely well done. Because was it last week? We had Charlotte and Bayley. Whoever won that match was going to challenge Io. I think that was a week ago, right? And then, Asuka kind of just came in and was like, not so fast. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like the build was extremely good for this one, but maybe this was kind of their thought process. Is what the point that you alluded to, KP, was that this match kind of speaks for itself. Doesn't really need a build up, but look who you got in the ring. That being said, we all fear. Maybe there are people out there that don't, but I think most of us always fear if Charlotte's in a title match. She could be taking it. I think I speak for most of us when I say we don't want that. Although if the fans would stop cheering her and this weird face dynamic with her, maybe we wouldn't have to deal with it so much. I'd take a heel Charlotte over a face Charlotte any day of the week. But then with the way Asuka was inserted into this match, it kind of makes you feel like, well, maybe she's there for Charlotte to pin. Unfortunately, you take out losses to Charlotte and Asuka, maybe it would still have her streak alive. But I won't go there. It's a topic for another day. I can completely see that happening, and I think, unfortunately, it might. I think Io needs to keep the title. We've kind of already done damage to Asuka. Maybe let's not do that to Io. But if Io is going to lose the title, I think it should be to Asuka to continue that feud to maybe Mania, and let the rumors fly for what could happen with that. I'd like to see a feud there. I think everyone would. I would like this match better if it didn't have Charlotte in it. But alas, here we are. I guess I'm just going to go with Charlotte winning because it's the only thing that makes sense as to why Asuka was kind of inserted the way she was. And then that way I'm not as disappointed because I'm just hoping for the worst.
Yeah, for this match, obviously, as Scarlett said, that Bailey and Charlotte had the match, and I just imagine Oscar added in randomly for some reason, probably just to continue the feud. But I'm kind of going for either Io retain or Oscar pick up the new championship. But I'm gonna say Oscar's gonna be the new championship. But at the end of the match, I'm gonna reckon that the new AEW star that's moving to WWE, Jade Cargill, is gonna make her debut at the end of the match to face up to Oscar at the end of the match, and says she's next.
That is a bold call. Jade Cargill coming in to assert herself into the situation. I mean, Jade coming in isn't like the most far-fetched of ideas here, but I don't know. I think like if Jade inserts herself into the situation, I think how's Bianca Belair feeling, right? Because was she ever really out of this situation? She just sort of like gone away for a little bit. But I don't know. Are we overthinking this? I just don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Trying to make something more out of what we've got, I think, is it?
Yeah, I think anything to prevent Charlotte from winning maybe is our thinking. I think this match has enough going on already. I don't think it needs anything else. Doesn't mean to say that will happen, but I just feel like there's enough story going on already here. I don't feel like anything else is needed.
Yeah, I kind of agree, to be honest. Yeah, I think you could be right. Anyway, how about we talk about something that we can probably have a bit more of a clear idea about. So next up, we've got John Cena and LA Knight. Yeah, taking on the team of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, so representatives of the Bloodline. Tag team matchup here, where the build has been quite an interesting one. You've had originally it's meant to be John Cena and AJ Styles. They were meant to go up against Jimmy and Solo. Obviously, AJ was attacked by Jimmy and Solo backstage, meaning that John Cena was looking for a new tag team partner. A week went by, and LA Knight would come out and look to assist John Cena and say that, you know what, he wants to team up with Cena, and he wants to be part of the matchup. So, I mean, that makes for a very interesting matchup here, right? You got John Cena and LA Knight, two people who are absolutely over as hell at the moment. One of the probably hottest combinations you could get right now, right? In terms of just like crowd noise and levels and stuff. So I think the crowd's gonna be raucous for this one. And then you got Jimmy and Solo, who, you know, they're trying to sort of put the past behind them. Jay's gone, and they're trying to focus on like reestablishing the Bloodline as like, you know, they still mean business, and they're making sure that everyone knows that. I think when I look at this matchup, I think about Cena and Knight against Uso and Sikoa. I think it's got to be Cena and Knight to win, right? If you have Uso and Sikoa win, like what momentum do like? It doesn't really do much, sort of thing. Like, yeah, sure, they won the match, fair play, all right, cool. But that sort of just like kills off Cena and Knight's sort of momentum going into this. I think like if you have John and LA win, they can sort of propel themselves then to another position where, okay, maybe, you know, one of them looks to go after Roman Reigns, perhaps, you know, for a championship opportunity. You got Crown Jewel coming up. Reigns is probably going to be there. He's always at the Saudi events. So I think there's a title opportunity waiting to be earned. I really, really do. I think one of these two could win it if they win this matchup. So I think that just makes sense. It paints the picture for the next event. And then we move from there on. So I think, in my opinion, it's got to be Cena and Knight to win. Yeah, that's what I would go with from this one. But the crowd should be hot as hell.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have any issues with crowd noise. Hopefully not an issue. But I'm going to go on the other side of this. I actually think Jimmy and Solo winning this match has everything to gain. And I, you know, these two guys kind of coming together as, you know, yeah, they've been together this whole time, but they're kind of a new team with just the two of them, without Roman, without Jay. And a good reminder that Jay will be under the same roof as these two tonight. Surprise return from Roman being here, just making an appearance here could make for some interesting bits with the three of them, even if it's just a walk walk by in the hall or something, something as little as that. But I think these two winning could help propel them as a team on their own much more than a John Cena and LA Knight winning, kind of just a feel good win. These two guys have just kind of been thrown together. I don't think you can kill the momentum of of LA Knight at the moment. So I think he's to that point now where, like Seth Rollins, I don't think a loss hurts him right now. I feel like the Uso and Sikoa have a lot more to gain from a win here, and imagine if the crowd is as hot as we think they might be for this match. Imagine them winning this match as the heels. What kind of reaction they would get? So I feel like they have more to gain, and that's why I'm not confident in the answer, but I think from a booking perspective, it gains more by them winning.
Well, I'm going with KP on this one. I'm going for John Cena and LA Knight, to pick up the win for this one. Because, as KP said, they're currently making good progress. LA Knight's strongly getting bigger and bigger and looking for a title opportunity upcoming, possibly Roman or Gunther, whoever. And for John Cena, he's going to retire soon, so if this is his last match, if he doesn't have a retirement match, this would be a good match for him to win with LA Knight, a big match against Jimmy and Solo. So I'm not going for Jimmy and Solo because when they lose, I think Jimmy Uso is going to go alone and possibly super kick Solo and say, I quit from the bloodline, and then only compete on his own as a heel. So I got to go with John and LA to pick up the win on this one.
Alrighty then. I guess mixed opinions on this one then, right? Kurt and I say Cena and Knight. Scarlett says Uso and Sikoa. At least it's sort of giving us the split decision there with maybe it could go either way, actually. I think Scarlett makes some good points. I think we all do, to be fair. Bits and bobs in there. But should be great. I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I just can't wait for the crowd. That's the main thing. So how about we change focus now? Let's go on to our next matchup of the discussion, and we have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships on the line. So you've got newly formed team here of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso up against the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Send your money in the bank as well. So, I mean, I'm not really feeling this, Jay and Cody, I get that it kind of makes some sort of sense, but Cody's the only one to sort of think that Jay moving to Monday Night is a good idea. Everyone else in the locker room seems to be against it, maybe except for Sammy. But I don't know, just because these two are allies, they just suddenly got a tag team match against the Judgment Day. I don't know, it screams to me like it's just sort of been thrown in just because why not? I don't really care for it. I'll be perfectly blunt and honest here, but I'll go with the Judgment Day winning. I can't see Cody and Jay winning this matchup. I can't see them dethroning the Judgment Day, who've only recently picked up the titles themselves. Yeah, it's got to be Cody and Jay. It's got to be Judgment Day for me. It has to be. I can't see it going any other way. Whether there's something bigger to come from this that I'm not really seeing at the moment, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I'm assuming Dom and Rhea and JD will probably all be involved as well. We'll see the regular Judgment Day shenanigans. You could say Bloodline 2.0 if you will. Jay's used to all of that, isn't he? So yeah, maybe that'll be involved. Maybe you get Sammy and Kevin as sort of a competent to that situation as well, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. The build's been strange, and I just don't really care too much for this one. Judgment Day to win.
Yeah, this definitely feels like one of the weaker builds as far as the matches on this card go. I think to KP's point, I think everyone will be involved. The rest of the Judgment Day, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and I think to Kurt's point earlier, I think this is kind of the match that I feel like could potentially be a Survivor Series war game, what have you. I feel like this would be the feud to do that. But I agree, Cody and Jay just doesn't make a ton of sense, and in no way do I think they're going to beat the Judgment Day. And how dominant they've been. If Cody does win this, I'm one of the heavier supporters for Cody. But if Cody wins this, I think you could potentially have some people turning sour on him. I just feel like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really help anyone. I get they're wanting to push Jay, and I think this is kind of their route for doing that, is to pen him with Cody. But it just doesn't work. So I think Judgment Day should win this. If I could put all my confidence points on one match, this would be the one that I confidently pick the Judgment Day.
I agree on both Scarlett and KP this one. I'm going to go for Judgment Day to retain as well, because there's no possibly see that Cody and Jay will win the tag team titles. I think this is just a random match that they've just thrown in because they couldn't think of any more ideas or something. Judgment Day to retain. I've got really not much to say about this one because we all going to know what the outcome's going to be.
So yeah, all in agreement there. Has to be Judgment Day, right? Can't see this going the other way. And if it does, then like Scarlett said, maybe people could start to turn on Cody Rhodes.
I just want to add one more point in there about Jay. It just feels like if they're going to build him, which, I was one of the people that, back when he faced Roman, there's not a shot in hell. It's not going to happen. Zero chance. But I think a lot of people thought it could potentially happen. But I'm eating my words a little bit because I was like, there's no way that Jay is ever going to be a main event talent. But that being said, I am a big fan of what they've done with him since, dubbing him the name main event Jey Uso. I feel like he has made great strides to potentially be a main event star. And I think that's their thinking, and the only reason that we're seeing this match and him put over with Cody, because it just, if you look at it just face value, it seems completely random. Like, okay, so I'm part of the bloodline and I'm on SmackDown, but my boy Cody Rhodes over here wanted me to come over to Raw for a fresh start. It just feels completely random. It was like, you took your hottest star on Raw, arguably, and wanted to pin him with Jey Uso to help escalate him to the main event thing. I think he could have done it on his own. I don't think he needs this match. I don't think he needs to be penned with Cody. So just wanted to add that bit in there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think what they have done with Jey Uso has actually been really, really tremendously good. Like, I think I was also a doubter at first, thinking like, they're going to try and make this guy like this main event persona type thing. Is it really going to work out? But to be fair, like, the crowd have taken to him really nicely. He seems to be sort of like doing things, in a really good manner. He's doing well for himself. So like, I think at this point, just let him roll. Let's watch and see how he gets on. And if he can sort of like go from here, that'd be pretty decent. Like, I think you look at these sort of situations, you think, they need to pick up like a mid card title, maybe like the Inter or the US title, and then you have like maybe them pick up like a tag title. At the moment, obviously on Raw, I don't think anyone's going to beat Gunther because let's face it, it's Gunther. So that leaves the tag titles. Is this really their way of just putting them back on Jay again, but this time with Cody, and then just saying like, look, he's in that category? I don't know. I don't think it really fits like that, but Gunther ain't going to get beat by anyone. He's too good. And speaking of which, by the way, that match should have been on this card. Can we just have a little bit of discussion about that? The disrespect, like, I don't know if it's disrespect. They main evented Raw, which is awesome, but like they could have had that happen here. Like, the card is a little bit short on numbers here in the matches. I think they could have had it, surely, right?
Yeah, you beat me to it a little bit. I was going to throw some shade at WWE for not including the Intercontinental Championship on here because that was a pretty good match just, on Raw. Imagine if they'd gotten 10 more minutes. Both of those workers are top of the line, in my opinion. That could have been potentially match of the night here. And especially when you have matches like this that just kind of feel thrown together at the last minute anyways. It's complete not a disrespect to the mid-card titles that, honestly, the Intercontinental Championship right now feels more relevant than other titles. Yes, I'm looking at you, Roman.
Yeah, who knows? It's a weird one, right? Like, it was a great matchup between the two of them. And obviously, you had the moment afterward with DIY Reforming as well. Really cool moment there. That would have been nice to see on a premium live event as well. But yeah, they just didn't go with it. And obviously, you know, we've got a really sort of like underwhelming match card on paper. But I think in these situations, they do tend to be better than we think they will be. We've had a couple of situations earlier this year where that's been the case. So fingers crossed it is the same again. I'd like to think so. That's all the matches discussed, doesn't it? I think we haven't got anything else to go through here. It seems weird because I would just sort of like already done. Hey, thanks guys for joining me today. Thank you to Kurt, thank you to Scarlett. We will be back with our next YouTube video and podcast. That's going to be after this Fastlane event. We're going to be doing our reactions to whatever goes down. And yeah, we will see everybody then. And we will make sure that we get that one released this time. Hey, cheers again to you guys. Thank you everybody for coming in and listening in today. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you all next time. This has been another KP's Place YouTube video and podcast for those listening on Spotify for podcasters with me, KP, because that will be me, and with Kurt and Scarlett, because that would be them. Cheers, guys. We'll see you next time.